With so many games to choose from on a Friday night of high school football, we flipped a coin and ended up here. Not a bad choice. It's Castle and Mater Dei for the Southern Indiana Athletic Conference Championship as both teams enter at 7-0. I'm Darren Smith alongside Pete Hillenbrand. Waited all week for this one. I don't think it'll disappoint.
Oh, it's the Army against the Air Force tonight, Darren. The ground game against the aerial attack of the Mater Dei Wildcats. Nowhere else in the world to be. It's paradise tonight.
Castle and Mater Dei, they've had tremendous seasons. They're expected to go quite far in the upcoming postseason. We begin with the Mater Dei Wildcats, a team we saw last Thursday night at Owensboro Catholic. Awful impressive, led by one of the best quarterbacks in the state, the junior Jake Schiff.
Well, he sits back in the pocket and picks his receiver. They flood the defensive backfield. They cut routes off short. They have everybody left and right. And Schiff, if the Mater Dei line can give him time in the pocket, it's a pick 'em, and he gets the job done. A very fluent passing machine.
And against a team like the Castle Knights, you're going to need a running game. They have that, one of the best they've had in a long while, Nathan Wilderman.
Coach Leidy made no bones about it. They need to hold the Mater Dei running game to sub 100 yards tonight. Sub 100, and Nathan's been nearly averaging that, the numbers upstairs, but that's going to be a tough job for the Castle defense because Nathan Wilderman can get you offensive yards.
Tonight you'll also see one of the best scrambling quarterbacks in southwestern Indiana. His name is Brandon Roop.
He makes a lot of difference in this Castle Knight attack. It's always been right between the tackles for Castle. Now Brandon allows them to spread the field and keeps the defenses guessing. They will run the majority of the time, but they can pass. And when he connects, 33% of the time it goes for 6.
We saw the Castle Knights a couple of weeks ago over at Wrights Bowl against the Wrights Panthers. John Haller was injured that game. A healthy John Haller is a good thing for Castle.
The coaching staff's going to keep an eye on John tonight. They really want to get some yards out of him. He wants to be in. They're going to keep an eye on how he finishes the run. What happens after that initial hit? And they're going to gauge that ankle injury right now and his readiness to be in this ball game. Aaron Key is a great backup. We're going to see a lot of both of those guys, even if Haller does prove to be 100%.
It is great to be back here on a Friday night. Everyone talking about this one. Castle and Mater Dei, both at 7-0, coming up next.
Paul's Pharmacy at the corner of Franklin Street and St. Joseph Avenue is a full-service pharmacy. In addition to competitive pricing and personal service, they offer diabetic counseling, a nurse consultant on staff, countywide delivery, a drive-through window, accept most insurance plans, and carry an extensive line of herbal medication. Paul's now offers compounding, the old-fashioned art of preparing medication to meet the needs of individual patients. Paul's also specializes in nursing home service, as Paul is one of 4 geriatric pharmacists in the state. So for all your pharmacy needs, make it to Paul's on Evansville's west side.
Trucks are fast becoming America's most favorite vehicles. Hi, I'm Shane Nance of Nance Motors. And at Nance Motors, we realize the popularity of sport utility vehicles and the new 3- and 4-door trucks. More and more people are looking at trucks as a primary means of transportation. At Nance Motors, we have large and small trucks, 2- and 4-wheel drives, and a big selection of sport utilities. If you're looking for a truck, you had better come to Nance Motors in Seabury.
Think about this. The things you want to protect the most are the very things we can protect the best. James Will Insurance. Performance. The best way to gauge ours is to ask one of our clients. James Will Insurance. Insurance since 1962.
Every now and then one of these comes along late in the season, undefeated, 7-0 for 7-0, and we've got it for you here tonight, Pete.
Well, there are the Mater Dei Wildcats on the far sideline here at Castle High School, and coming into where they've played some great football, but have trouble winning up here at Castle. The victories over the Knights have been at the Wrights Bowl. Tonight they want to try to get a little bit of revenge on the road as they will kick off to the Castle Knights. Mater Dei won the toss. They deferred and will give it away to the Knights, and we'll see that ground attack.
Well, these two teams have split the last 2 years. Mater Dei won this game last year over at Wrights Bowl, 35-28. 2 years ago right here, 2 years ago tonight, Castle in a thriller, 27-24. If you look at the results this year, Pete, very, very similar against the opposition. So Castle, with home field advantage, will be here in the opening week of the playoffs as well when they host the Wrights Panthers. Trying to go to 8-0 for the first time in a while, and we're underway on a Friday night of high school football. Not the way you want to start. Brandon Hale may have cost himself about 10 yards, still gets out to the 17.
Boy, Darren, Mater Dei gives up some size, but they do not lack pop. You saw a couple of hits right there, and they give the Knights some poor field position to start off. But as we talk about both of these two teams, really field position not that big of a factor because the football field becomes very small with the high-powered running game of Castle and the very pinpoint accurate passing of Mater Dei.
Check the starters after this play. Brandon Roop, great running quarterback, 27 of 50. That's around 54%. 600 yards, no interceptions to date. A lot of your ground game this year has been John Haller. We did not get to see him a couple of weeks ago against Rice because of the high ankle sprain, the injury in the North game.
They'll keep an eye on him, and that was good pressure in the backfield by Mater Dei, and nowhere to go for Haller. And something different this year with Castle, they will run it outside the tackles. At that time, Mater Dei defense there to hold. Offensively for the Castle Knights, at center is Hunter Fields. The guards are Todd Evers and Clayton Dame. The tackles, Steve Elmer, Justin Jones. The tight end is Zach Lair. Fullback is Mike Dietz. John Haller, your tailback. Brandon Hale, the flanker. Split in Hunter Buchanan, and the quarterback is Brandon Roop.
Roop looking downfield, pass intended for Casey Elkins. He's had some very big grabs this year, like the North game, a game they won in the closing minute, 16-14. Right now, they're looking at 3rd and long, Pete.
Little miscommunication that time, and Elkins turning in, and Roop looking for him to the outside. And this is a situation that Coach Leidy said they must avoid tonight, the 3rd and long situations. But if you remember, they found themselves in that spot a couple of times against Wrights, and they do have some running plays that can get them out of trouble, not to mention the arm of Brandon Roop.
Castle offense is totaling an average of 340 yards a week. Most of that is on the ground, but their first possession will be 3 and out. Not a lot of running room. They give up the ball, and they began on poor field position.
Well, Haller got the ball the couple of yards back that he lost. His ankle is heavily taped. It's a high ankle sprain that he suffered in the North game. And the coaching staff is paying particular attention to how he will finish the run. That is how well he does after he's hit. So far, the Wildcats have had 2 white shirts, or 3 on him every time.
David Sampson gets off a pretty good one, but it's going to just die right around the 45, and Mater Dei will begin the night with great field position. The Mater Dei Wildcats, 433 yards a week, 260 come through the air.
That's very tough to defend, and now they do have incredible field position to start this game with their first offensive possession. Offensively for the Wildcats, Matt Hoon is your center. Ben Verkamp and Brett Duvall are the guards. The tackles, Justin Greibel and Dom Perone. Patrick Mallory, Jared Schiff, Dan Alcorn, Albert Schmidt, all listed as wide receivers in this passing-oriented offense. Nathan Wildeman is your running back, and Jake Schiff calls the signals and lets them fly.
Open up on the ground with Nathan Wilderman. This is one of the top point producers in the SIAC. He's second in rushing behind Norris Dorenzo Bushrod. He gets to the 40. He's halfway home. Here comes 2nd down and 5.
You know, that's something that you see in the paper, and you look back and read it again, because Mater Dei has a running back that's the 2nd leading rusher around, and it's just such a surprise. I bet Nathan Wildeman's not a bit surprised at that, and the line does a great job, and that's a front that averages 223 pounds a man, often outmatched, but always providing Wildeman with some room to run.
Plenty of choices through the air. They'll keep it on the ground with Wildeman. Wildeman has a first down as he gets out to the 31. He has become the all-time leading scorer in Mater Dei history, and there have been a lot of great athletes here through the years.
That is not too bad, and on the ground.
So 1st and 10, and Mater Dei moves at will on their opening possession. Mater Dei again 433 per week, 260 through the year, 175. Most of that Wilderman on the ground. They average about 15 first downs per week, 100 coming in after 7 weeks. Short pass inside the 30. Incomplete pass intended for Jared Schiff. That has been his favorite target, one of about 7 this year for Jake Schiff.
Those are the plays, the pass plays that Leidy is looking to stop. Maybe not as much as breaking up the pass, but hitting and making the tackle on the initial hit. Mater Dei relies so much on breaking one tackle after a pass route like that, and then they have downfield blocking that springs it for about a 20-30 yard gain. Leidy said if we're isolated, we must make that tackle on that catch.
Second down and 10, triplets here to the outside, almost underthrown, but Schiff holds on and taken out right around the 30. A gain of about 2 and a late flag, and actually Albert Schmidt that time with the reception, his first of the night.
Well, the pass goes for just about 3. It was a lot of work for 3 yards. I was working with the stat sheet, and I didn't see the hit, but usually the flag in that area is a late hit out of bounds, and that would go big.
Costly penalties, and for Castle, they have been penalized 32 times for about 40 yards a week. Take a look at the last.
Well, they find Schmidt. It's a short route, and he turns, and Castle had coverage downfield, so it collapses on Schmidt, as you can see his anticipation.
And there's the penalty. Well, the penalty coming up.
He decides he'll just get to the sideline, and then
Hunter Buchanan.
And there you go. Hunter gets the shot. No blood, but a foul that time, and 15 yards tacked on for the first penalty of the game, and Mater Dei's second first down.
Inside, just inside the 15, and here come the Wildcats. 41 points per week. The defense has held the opposition to just 12. Schiff gets good protection and has a receiver, but it's intercepted.
Well, you just have to eat that one, Darren, and
Casey Elkins has done that before.
Blanket coverage, and it looked like they did it all with the 3-man rush that time and provided all of the blanket defense back there, and Schiff with a lot of time, but nowhere to throw the ball. Thought he had one for a second, but Elkins was lurking behind and comes up with the interception. Just the 8th of the year thrown by Schiff.
Second interception for Casey Elkins. He had a big one in the North game. 1st and 10, we move the other way from the 25. This time there is a little bit more running room for John Haller, your top rusher, 75 carries, around 560 on the year, and he's been injured. He missed practically the entire North game.
Well, he's going to get a little bit tougher, I think, as the game goes along. I think that ankle will come through for him, and he'll just have to get comfortable with it, and I believe he'll be there. And that was a nice little 4-yard run that time.
Second down and 6, approaching the 30. And Roop not afraid to put it up there, but his most dangerous weapon is probably his scrambling ability. And that time completes to Zach Lair. Big Zach Lair. His 4th reception, 6'5", about 280, Pete.
That's a big Zach Lair, Darren, and that's a big tight end. And they found him, bobbled it a little bit, and then he was hit on the coverage. Well, you go back to that interception, both coaches pointed to turnovers as being probably the single biggest key of this ball game. Mater Dei a little more turnover prone than the Castle Knights, but really only 11 turnovers on the season. And Castle, I don't know if they even have their first yet.
This is a big 3rd and 6 on the 29. Roop, like I said, can scramble but has a lot to make up. Initial hit is Jordan Rexing, and Castle will get rid of it. Some people expecting maybe a high-scoring game. First 3 possessions, nothing.
Well, both of these teams have a very good defense. And here's Mater Dei's defense really swarmed that time as Roop with the little bootleg, kind of a misdirection. The flow got going to the right. He turned it back to the left, but a couple of the Cats stayed at home, and they get the ball in good shape once again.
Going to let it take a Castle roll, actually. Nice roll all the way down to the 33, so Mater Dei will take over there. 7:40 here to go in the opening quarter. We'll take a timeout. Castle and Mater Dei for the SIAC Championship.
Since 1913, Wayne Supply has been dedicated to delivering superior products and the best available support services at competitive prices. With harvest season just around the corner, you can save 10% now through November 1st on all combine belts from Wayne All Parts. No matter if you're driving a John Deere, New Holland Gleaner, or Case IH, Wayne Supply has the parts for you. While you're picking up your combine belt, don't miss your chance to register to win 2 tickets, lodging, and a chance to meet NASCAR's Ward Burton. Wayne Supply, 2420 Lynch Road in Evansville.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Allen Grease Disposal Incorporated, a local company working to serve you. Call us today at 429-1275.
In a word, yummy.
Wait just a minute. Whoop, whoop.
Back out at Castle Stadium, Darren Smith with Pete Hillenbrand. Mater Dei in Castle to the 39. Second for Albert Schmidt.
They just get the quick out to Albert just across the line of scrimmage. And they do most of their damage after the reception, and he caught it and ran it forward for about 6.
Albert Schmidt in his senior year. 2 TDs on the year, one of those last Thursday night over at Catholic High School in Owensboro. Second down and 4 for the pickup of 6. Triplets here to the near side for Jake Schiff. And another first down via the run, Pete.
Well, it's going to be something that I think they'll consider just staying with for a while. The Knights will have to stop that run. They plan to hold Nathan Wilderman. Well, they hope to hold Nathan Wilderman under 100 yards. That's the magic number that Leidy threw out there in our pregame talk. They need to keep them under 100 on the ground. Well, it looks like that might be where their offense will come from.
First and 10 now from the 45. Approaching midfield. Mater Dei again shows triplets to the outside, but this is work. This is Nathan Wilderman. Wilderman maybe a yard that time. Second and long. Coming up, initial stop by big Zach Lair, again 6'5", goes 280.
Well, this will be a stat that you don't want to pay a lot of attention to, but in the first down column, Mater Dei with 3 first downs now, 1 by penalty, but also with the game's only turnover. The key, though, they've held Castle to 3 and out. Another key to the game, Coach Leidy said we can't afford 3rd and long situations. We can't afford 3 and out, but the Knights a team that is very effective at overcoming some of their shortcomings early.
Trying to get to midfield. Pass complete works. First for Patrick Mallory, your second leading receiver. Has now 33 of those for over 620 yards. 3rd and 5 coming up.
Now there is the high school football player that can do an extreme amount of damage after he catches the football. That time the Knights coverage held that play to just 5 yards. But Mallory very dangerous with the football.
3rd and 5 for the Wildcats. 3rd down conversions have worked quite nicely. Triplets to the outside this time as Schiff looks to return to the air, or maybe you go with Wilderman back to the air.
Big blitz. There should be somebody downfield for him.
And did the right thing that time as Schiff is hit out of bounds right in a crowd of Castle Knights and close to that bench.
Well, they had great coverage downfield, pretty much man-to-man coverage, and blitzed a couple that time. That was great defense by Castle. And I don't know if they knocked Schiff all the way into the Castle bench, all the way through the sidelines. And, you know, they called that one a late hit earlier that really didn't look that bad, and Schiff got a cheap seat that time.
So 4th and 6. Schiff is also the punter, a flag on this one. Corey Morris just able to hold on around the 15. I don't know if it's a change in the weather, but trouble holding on to that football a couple of times tonight.
Corey back there, and Corey Bradley and Corey Morris, and fortunately they were able to hop on that.
And this is against the Wildcats.
I think Castle will take that one back.
Yeah, with little doubt, you make them re-kick.
March it again, because the ball sits at about the 20-yard line without that, so they'll take advantage of Mater Dei's first penalty.
One of the things the Wildcats like to work on, they've been penalized 42 times this year for 325 yards. That works out to be about half a football field tonight, 46 yards a night coming in. So Schiff will get rid of it again. He's averaging 35 yards per punt. We've also seen some of Jonathan Gidcombe this year for Mater Dei, and that's out of play around the 35.
Boy, they really came after that punt. Not a block punt, but a hurry. You know, they give you that if you're rushing the quarterback. I think they should give you that if you're rushing the punter, because that is definitely what caused that short punt and gave Castle much better field position than they had from the previous.
So Castle begins their third possession already here in the third quarter. It's gone that way so far in the first 7 minutes of this one. First and 10 from the 34. And room for a couple towards the outside. Bring up second down and 8. First carry for Mike Dietz, 66 carries, 320 yards for the kid coming in week number 8. He's the second leading rusher behind John Haller.
Well, they're looking for yards, and they're looking for the back that'll give it to them. Naturally, Mater Dei keying on John Haller back there, and when Haller's in the game, he'll get the attention. I believe when Aaron Key comes in, he'll get the attention. So you dump it to your fullback and let him shoot it forward for a few.
Second down and 7 from the 37. There's Haller again, close to a first down, but not there yet. Third and a couple coming up for Castle. John Haller.
John still looks to be favoring that ankle a little bit, not hitting the hole with the confidence that makes him the runner that he is. And you know, in the first game back, it takes a little bit, but still looking a little bit timid or tender on that ankle out there.
This is third and a long one, about 1.5 yards for the Knights.
Yeah, that was his best run of the night so far, though.
1.5 yards to go. Haller gets there and then some. Taken down to the 28, and that was his best run so far.
About a 28-yarder for John Haller. He hit the hole and got into the linebacking area, and he made it hurt. He ran hard that time, saw some green, and got downfield in a hurry, and that's Castle's first down of the night. And now well into Mater Dei territory at the Wildcat 27.
Fourth leading rusher in the SIAC, John Haller. And Roop is back to pass. Third time tonight. Has Hunter Buchanan down there. Buchanan around the 5 is out of play.
Something happened, and Buchanan just didn't come down with that football. And I don't know if the coverage got over there in time, or he just couldn't get his hands around it. But boy, that is the dangerous passing of Brandon Roop. And what is it, 9 of 27, I believe. Of his completions have gone for touchdowns. Nearly had another one. Buchanan could have held on and turned that one in. Castle was on the board.
Yeah, that's an impressive stat. A third of his completions coming into the game have gone for TD scores. Buchanan, your top mark this year, 11 receptions, over 330 yards. This is second and 10, and again back to the ground. Not a lot of running room. Haller that time, and the initial stop that time by the Wildcats, Nick Gaffney. 65 tackles, 31 of those have been solo for the 6'1 senior.
He has some big shoes to fill tonight. One of the Wildcats coming into tonight's game on crutches, Scott Lewis, tore his MCL last week in the Owensboro Catholic game. Lewis, the team's leading tackler, they now look to their core of linebackers to pick up some of that slack.
This is 4-down territory, but it's 3rd down and 8 here for the Knights. And Brandon Roop, dangerous weapon, but it was caught that time by Matt Hoon. 45 tackles for the 5'11", 205-pound senior. A lot of good senior defensive players for the Wildcats, as we talked about last Thursday night in Owensboro. It's going to bring up 4th and close to about 5.
Well, that was a big tackle by Matt Hoon. He just reached out and grabbed the belt, held on with one hand, and was able to wrestle Roop down. I believe Brandon would have carried that on for a first down. That was a big one-arm tackle.
4-down territory, approaching the 20. This is 4th and 5 from the 23. They need to get to the 18. Roop was to get there through the air, let it go late, threw it away, and Mater Dei takes over on downs. It is defense in the first 10 minutes of this one.
Well, there was one whale of a block thrown by John Howler that time, and I thought that would be the one that would buy Roop some more time. But great pursuit by Mater Dei, and Howler ran into some more trouble. But there was a block that just about sprung that one for the night first down. And Castle frustrated on the sidelines, and that frustration is what makes them such a tough ball team. They can translate that frustration into aggression when they get the ball back out on the field.
Mater Dei takes over on the 23, 1st and 10, 1:46 to go in the opening quarter, no score. Happy you could join us here on a Friday night of high school football. Schiff, they've been rushing him lately. He gets out in time, had it, lost it for about a 3 or 4 yard gain. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10. You don't see Jared Schiff drop them often.
Not too often, and those will be important as this game goes. Castle has thrown the best pass defense at Mater Dei that the Wildcats have seen this far this season. They're able to get good pressure on Schiff and not sacrifice any coverage. I talked to Coach Gable about it. This is the most experienced defensive backfield that he's faced. Everyone's a letterman from last year, and right now they are doing the job.
Take the handoff. It's Patrick Mallory. And Mallory got good footing, got about halfway there to bring up 3rd and 5. Mallory, who will sometimes carry the ball, is better known for a receiver. That's just his 5th rush for the year, but his rushes have been big. He had 4 carries for well over 100 yards. At times stopped short after about 4 or 5.
Well, that play is definitely designed to go big, and he had one blocker outside, but that blocker drew the attention of 2 Castle DBs, and they were able to make the stop.
3rd down and 5 from the 28. And Schiff going to Wilderman, who gets out to about the 30, and Mater Dei will kick it away. You expect a high-scoring game because one stat that pops out at you is points per week, and Mater Dei averaging 41. Mater Dei had scored 101 points the last 2 weeks combined. Castle is averaging 34. Another stat that sticks out, though, is defense. Castle just allows around 6. Mater Dei under 14.
Both teams very solid at defense, and I'm somewhat surprised that we're looking at a scoreless first quarter because of the high-powered offense on both sides of the football, but defense is what wins championships, and both teams are loaded in that.
Corey Morris holds on to the 30. Nice punt by Schiff. 15 ticks left here in the opening stanza.
Boy, there is just some hard hitting going on. Both of these teams, just blood and guts football, Darren. They get their money's worth when they take the gridiron, and it's great to get the chance to watch a football game where 2 teams have the similar work ethic.
Welcome the rest of the SIAC peeking in tonight on a Friday night of high school football. North taking on Louisville Fern Creek tonight, and rivals Memorial and Harrison amongst SIAC tonight. Wrights in Bossy tomorrow night. On 1st and 10, Haller to about the 33. So you pick up about 3 or 4, bring up 2nd down and 6. But it'll be when we come back. 1 quarter in, no score in the battle of the undefeateds. 7-0 Mater Dei, 7-0 Castle. Back out to Paradise after this.
Trucks are fast becoming America's most favorite vehicles. Hi, I'm Shane Nance of Nance Motors. And at Nance Motors, we realize the popularity of sport utility vehicles and the new 3- and 4-door trucks. More and more people are looking at trucks as a primary means of transportation. At Nance Motors, we have large and small trucks, 2- and 4-wheel drives, and a big selection of sport utilities. If you're looking for a truck, you had better come to Nance Motors in Seabury.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Piranha Mobile Shredding and Recycling, serving all of your paper destruction and paper recycling needs. Call Piranha Mobile Shredding and Recycling today at 424-5566. ERA First Advantage, with locations in Evansville and Newburgh. ERA is there for you. You can also find us on the web at firstadvantage.com. ERA, always first in service. And Buckelman's, featuring family-style dining and now catering for up to 200 people at our facility, or for unlimited guests at your facility.
Welcome back to Paradise. No score after 1. Mater Dei and Castle is Castle on the 34, 2nd down and 5 for the Knights.
Well, and the concern is for the ankle of John Howler, and he has 7 carries, 42 yards already in the first quarter.
No room to move. Ryan Daywig, one of your top defensive players this week, that time on the stop.
Boy, Ryan all over that backfield that time.
So 3rd and long here coming up for the Knights. 3rd down conversions this year, 24 of 66. And this will actually bring up 3rd down and 12. Like Mater Dei with receivers, so many weapons on the ground. We're yet to see Aaron Key tonight, kid we saw a couple of weeks ago in the Rights game, who basically filled in for John Howler and did an outstanding job.
I think that was when that Key in on that carry that time, I believe.
Until the last carry.
And that surprised me. I thought we'd see a little bit more of him in the first quarter, but they are really interested in knowing how the ankle of Howler will be. And
it looked good. I mean, other than the first play or two.
And, you know, he looked to get a little bit of comfort, a little more comfort with it on every carry, and he busted the big gainer, and I think he'll be fine now. And he's back in the lineup right now. But right now, Leidy and the Knights in another 3rd and long situation, one they've wanted to avoid, but they're pretty effective here.
3rd down and 12, so a ways to go for Brandon Roop, and he goes for it, going long and looking for Hunter Buchanan. Fingertips, that's it. And Castle will call on Sampson to get rid of it.
Boy, there is so many ifs on that one. That just off the fingertips of Hunter Buchanan. And that was probably going all the way. Hunter did a great job getting downfield in a hurry. Roop with a little bit of pressure got a beauty off, but just a little bit overthrown.
So 4th and 12, 2 back for the Wildcats inside the 40. Sampson averaging around 34 yards per punt. His long this year is 43. That's not bad. This is Mallory. And gets about 6 or 7 on the return, approaching midfield at the 47. Here comes Mater Dei in the 2nd quarter.
Good field position again for the Wildcats, something that they've had the entire game, and still looking to capitalize. But really, Castle's pass defense is working. You know, good pressure and the blanket coverage back there, but really they're getting it done with man-to-man.
Actually spot the ball on the 46, 1st and 10. A minute into the 2nd. Wilderman, nothing there. Probably the toughest team, and we're going to see another one next week in Wrights, but the toughest team to run up the middle against in the SIAC has been for quite some time, Castle, Pete.
Up until that time, they've been giving Wilderman a little bit of room to run. They've had some luck moving some of the Knights' line with different stunts, but that time just clogged up there and nowhere for Wilderman to go. He did good to get back to the line of scrimmage.
A 2nd and 10 here for the Wildcats. To either side in Wilderman here in the back, but shifts going back to the air. Gave some protection. That one high that time. And that's just pretty good coverage, I think, from Corey Morris.
Corey backed off a little bit to give the illusion that Schiff had an open man. And then he was right there in the end, but that ball, the sideline helped defend that one a little bit as well, but Blake Kelker was the target that time. Just missed him out of bounds.
Career throw to Blake. This is 3rd down and 10. So again, Schiff back to the air. Looking up the middle. Couple of receivers and a big grab by Alcorn. Dan Alcorn, 3rd leading receiver this year for the Wildcats, has the biggest grab of the game so far.
Well, Alcorn ran a great pass route that time, Darren. He got his man on his outside shoulder. The pass was thrown to the inside, and he turned in. But what an acrobatic catch by Dan Alcorn. But watch, the ball's in the air. We won't see Alcorn. He's got his man on his outside shoulder. Now the ball gets there, and look at the acrobatics. He pulled an interception away from a sure interception that the defender had thought that he had. And what a great catch by Dan Alcorn.
Here's Wilderman. Second effort, picks up maybe 6 or 7 and brings up second down and 3. And here comes Mater Dei. Not the deepest they've been. They had it down on the 15 with a penalty earlier before throwing it away.
Well, I think the key right here is patience. And you can't be afraid to throw it away or to eat one. But now this is where the Knights defense gets very tough. And it's been tough enough all evening.
Second down and 3. Wilderman working for 3, is close to that first down.
Well, he's inside the 15. He's picked it up.
And so Mater Dei, the deepest they've been on this tough, stingy defense. Not just leaders in the SIAC, one of the top defenses in the state of Indiana, averaging less than a touchdown or giving up less than a touchdown a week. So first and 10, just on the 14 now. Triplets near side for Jake Schiff. Averaging 18 yards per completion. His scrambling ability probably not as good as Roop's, and he'll lose quite a bit. Taken back around the 17. So second and about 14 coming up here for Mater Dei.
Well, he's learned a lot. As experienced as he is as a junior, he's learned a lot here tonight in the first half. And, he got out of the pocket, decided to go ahead and run it. The coverage was there and prevented a gainer.
Well, good news when you're... Bit of good news when your quarterback is Jake Schiff and get some of that back, usually on one play, but not with that kind of defense. Big Andrew Burt, 6'6", 250, who did not play last year because of injury, was sorely missed, and you can see why.
Well, you watch Burke, he's been getting double teamed most of the night, and a great execution right there froze up one of the linemen, and then here comes Burke hanging on with pursuit. And Andrew been drawing some attention. He was glad to see a change there, and he got to Schiff.
Third down and 8, nobody there. You could say the pass is intended for Albert Schmidt, closest to Hunter Buchanan. And in 4-down territory, here comes 4th and 8 for Mater Dei.
Well, it's a 40-yard field goal if you go for the points, and I believe that they'll snap it and run a play here. But they have about 17 to go for your first down and 22 for the end zone.
4th and 8 for the Wildcats. Again, trying to give Schiff protection. Looks towards the sideline, now towards the end zone, juggled, incomplete. Elkins on the coverage that time of Patrick Mallory. Don't get used to this. Storyline says we go the other way.
Well, that was a nice pass and a nice route by Mallory, and something happened when the ball arrived. But the Mater Dei pass routes are being run very smartly right now. They're keeping their defender to the opposite side of the pass. And that time, Patrick just didn't haul it in, and he'll get that one back.
1st and 10 from the 22. Defense. Through the first 17-plus minutes, Roop nowhere to go. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. May even have got a yard on that. It's a second and long here coming up for the Castle Knights.
That was a nice piece of work by Brandon Roop. Those plays usually go for several yards, and Mater Dei's coverage has been all over that. And as you watch Brandon, he'll kind of resemble a pinball here. He has a good wall out in front of him. But, there's one Wildcat with a hand on the jersey. There's another one coming in, 3 or 4 more for the finish. And Brandon is not used to seeing that after that play.
John Haller breaks free. Comes close to a first down. Amongst those in on the tackle for the Wildcats, Aaron Knight, one of your top tacklers this year on the west side. And 3rd and a couple here coming up for Castle. Good to see a healthy John Haller back, but you can see him favoring the ankle. Look.
Well, he's definitely favoring it. I think he feels the most comfortable with the football because that's when your concentration shifts elsewhere. But the ankle still very tender, and that high sprain that's a tough one to come back from. But Haller giving all he has.
3rd and 2. Aaron Key is back in there for Haller. He did not disappoint in the Wrights game. Need 2, and I don't think he got there. Aaron Key on the carry.
He hit the line of scrimmage with a full head of steam. But I believe that was Eric Daywig that came in and made the stop.
It's close enough for a measurement. And he is just going to be short. That's a chain link, if that. You're at home. You're John Lighty. He's been known to go deep.
This is a tough one right here. Even as effective as their running game is.
It's been a defensive game so far.
It's been a defensive game, and
they even remeasured that one. That's how close it was.
They're going to go ahead and kick it away.
Yeah, they're bringing out Sampson. You know, it's a smart move. I mean, the way it's gone defensively. You're at home. Why give momentum to the other side? So 4th and literally an inch. Sampson will get rid of it. And a flag.
Well, and the Knights are celebrating like this will go against Mater Dei.
Pulled Mater Dei offside. Is that smart football?
That's the first
it's
time
who bit first.
I've ever seen that.
Well, I've seen teams drawn offside, just not quite in that fashion.
Well, that's something that they haven't had a look at before, and nothing was set. Everybody shifted, and it drew them.
You think they worked on that in practice this week?
Heads up officiating that time.
1st and 10 from the 37. That's the most costliest 5 yards, maybe of the season so far.
There's a
loose football, and Mater Dei recapitalizes. So how many times has momentum switched in the first 20 minutes of this game?
Boy, that's just a shot to the knees. You know, after coming up with the penalty for the first down, that one knocks the wind out of you a little bit, and something that you're not used to doing. You know, the Knights very seldom turn the football over.
That's just the 4th time they've done it through now 7 and basically a half games.
Turnovers even in this game right now, and that's a key, one of the keys that we'll keep an eye on to this ball game.
Here comes Mater Dei upstairs. Pass intended for Jared Schiff. He's due. 2nd down and 10. Good coverage. I mean, on both sides tonight, just blanket coverage on the receivers.
Well, we're starting to see some of the Mater Dei receivers get a little breathing room down there. But that time still the intended receiver covered very well.
2nd and 10 here from the Castle 35. 5:36 here left to play until halftime. There is no score. Schiff ran out of room in a hurry, and that one is thrown away. You could say pass intended for Albert Schmidt, although about 10 yards in front of him out of play. You've got to protect Jake Schiff. Something they did not do very well in the Bosse game, although they won that game 28-10. The Bulldogs really got after Schiff 3 weeks ago.
Well, they put him on his back several times, and Castle really hurrying him. That time, he knew about where Albert Schmidt was, and he tried to throw one to the general vicinity, and he didn't want to throw it anywhere where it could be intercepted. And just hope that Albert could get there, but he really took a pop that time as the Knights are getting after him.
Here again, 3rd down and 10. Looking long, looking for Mallory. Mallory inside the 5.
That's about a 30-yard completion to Patrick Mallory, and as we said, he won't let many of those opportunities slip by him. He hauled that one in, that one thrown right to the number.
One of the top scorers in the SIAC has perhaps the biggest grab so far tonight.
Boy, great poise that time after the powder that he took, and that ball gets a long way in a short period of time. And Mallory right in between two. for the 32-yard reception and another Wildcat first down, and as deep in Castle territory as they've been.
They have picked up a yard, so 2nd and goal from about 2 yards out. Moves Mater Dei and maybe closer to a yard. Perhaps not a tougher red zone defense in the SIAC. And again, we're going to see Wrights next week than these Castle Knights.
Well, the Wildcats have been just chipping away at the Castle Knight armor throughout the game. First trip down, they threw the interception.
Here's Wilderman. Tough to get in.
Second time out on downs. And now Nathan Wilderman takes over. A couple yards at a time, and he's down near the 1.
So 3rd and about a yard coming up. And you already asked yourself the question, if the Knights hold serve here, do you go for the points?
I would think here you have to get some points on the board. We've played nearly a half of football. This is something the coaches don't want to think about yet. They want to get this play. Mater Dei wants it punched in the end zone.
3rd and a yard and a half. They sent Wilderman up and over and tried for the quick reception.
He fell down at the line of scrimmage. There was some feet that got mixed up. And Ryan Daywig was the intended receiver, and he got tripped up at the line of scrimmage, and he was open, and the pass was there, and Ryan just got his feet tangled up.
Well, 2 field goals this year for this guy. B.J. Porter trying to put points on the board. And a flag.
This is a huge one here. That's an illegal procedure against Mater Dei, and that'll put it outside the 5-yard line.
Well, think about that for a moment, because we're talking 5 yards here. Does this give them a little bit more room to work with? Sometimes coaches will usually run the clock down.
I think you'd rather have that chip shot extra point than but Porter definitely has a nice foot. I don't think it makes much difference to BJ.
So we're really 4th and 7, but
24-yarder on the way.
And he's kicked those before. B.J. Porter, high snap that time, gets it up, and it is good. First points of the game come with 3:45 left until halftime. Mater Dei leading Castle 3-0.
Insurance. Unfortunately, it costs. Fortunately, it pays. James Will Insurance. It takes a positive attitude to succeed, and that positive attitude has been firmly in place since 1962 to do the best we can for every client. James Will Insurance.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Piranha Mobile Shredding and Recycling, serving all of your paper destruction and paper recycling needs. Call Piranha Mobile Shredding and Recycling today at 424-5566. ERA First Advantage, with locations in Evansville and Newburgh. ERA is there for you. You can also find us on the web at firstadvantage.com. ERA, always first in service. And Bockelman's, featuring family-style dining and now catering for up to 200 people at our facility, or for unlimited guests at your facility.
I'm Darren Smith with Pete Hillenbrand. Welcome back to Castle Stadium. 3-0 on a B.J. Porter 24-yard field goal is where we stand. Approaching halftime, Pete.
Well, you get some points on the board and go play defense, but you give the ball to Castle, and now they're newly inspired offense. Now down just 3-0, but plenty of time for the Night Magic here in Paradise to work. Both teams playing excellent defense, though Mater Dei with a great opportunity ran into a very tough Castle Knight red zone defense. And I think that Leidy will take the 3 points and get out of that mess.
And when you're at home, this is a high-scoring game, like I said 2 years ago right here, 27-24. This is Corey Morris with great field position at the 40, and 3:41 is plenty of time to work with this offense this season.
That field position at the 40-yard line, that's worth about a minute and a half or two. And they have 3:40 to play, but the ball near midfield now. Not bad shape if you're the Castle Knights.
Remember, Brandon Roop's completions this year, 27 coming in, a third of those have gone for big or for long for points.
And he has just missed on a couple of occasions tonight.
And Hunter Buchanan due to pull down a big one. This is Haller. Maybe a yard. Long run to the outside. No room there. Second and long.
Well, that play just stretches out the line of scrimmage, and Haller looks for a corner to turn. And Mater Dei's defense has been doing a good job of stringing that out and sealing those outside holes.
Out to the 41, second down and 9.
I think both defensive game plans have been played out very well here in this first half. You know, with the exception of Haller's 28-yarder, they've held John to just short gains.
Roop had it, lost it again. Brandon Hale looking for his 5th reception this season.
That Patrick Mallory, I think, would like a little salt and pepper to go with that one. Those are ones that deep backs dream about, as Hale had to go up for that one. Mallory planted and broke that one up with the hit.
Please, no more salt. Have you been to the Fall Festival this week?
You know, today at lunch was the first chance I had to get down there, and I made up for it.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I've been there every day and night. So here's third down and 9. And here's Haller. To around the 46.
That was a really nice run by John Haller that time. Every step was hard and solid, and that goes for about 8 yards.
But, yeah, 4th and a couple here. They will kick this one away. Mater Dei with all their timeouts left in the arm of Jake Schiff. All coming up. 4th and 2. Sampson to get rid of it. Mallory and Schmidt backed up inside the 20 for the Wildcats. And a fake. Sampson close, yes, but didn't get there.
Just short that time.
And this guy can move. We talked about that in the Rights game, Sampson.
I thought this was a pretty good situation for that to take place with, you know, the ball near midfield. 2 minutes left. Go ahead and give it a shot. And
John Lightney's been the gambler tonight, huh?
He's thrown some interesting things out there, and it's. I talked with Gary Gable, Coach Mike Gable's brother, and one of the Mater Dei assistants. He said they have a lot of tricks in their pocket yet, and if you're winning, if you're not losing, you don't have to show those. Well, neither team has been losing. We haven't seen anybody's tricks.
That time on the receiving end. This is Wilderman for a first down, approaching the 30, down to the 32, with 2 minutes to work with in all your timeouts.
Boy, Nathan comes out of the backfield that time. Catch the 16-yarder from Jake Schiff.
Been on the receiving end of a couple this year. As a receiver, that's his 9th reception as he closes in on 100 receiving yards. Tonight he will go over 1,000 rushing yards. 1st and 10 from the 32. Wilderman to the 20. And another Wildcat first down.
Another 12 yards for Nathan, and that's his longest gainer of the night. I have that for Mater Dei's 8th first down, and they still have all their timeouts left, 1.5 minutes to play.
Yeah, and that's key. They'll split 2 to the outside, 2 receivers either side for Schiff, and Wilderman, the look in the back. Fakes a reverse, then pops it forward. Wilderman just out of his reach. 2nd and 10. Still, though, Castle doing a great job blanketing those receivers.
Well, and a great job in penetration. That time on Brandon Hale all over Schiff that time, and just enough to get in his way, and good pursuit by Brandon Hale.
2nd down and 10. 1:20 left until halftime. 3-0 Mater Dei. Schiff hands off. There's plenty of room for Wilderman. Inside the 10, into the 5. Touchdown!
Boy, they spread the field out and draw play to Nathan Wilderman, something that the Knights were not expecting at all. And they had a couple collapse on Wilderman, but he broke one tackle and fought his way in. You know, that's what what you mean when you talk about finishing the run. And Nathan Wilderman finished the run that time in a play that really caught the defense looking for something else.
Broke a tackle, squeezed inside the 10, kept on moving. A league-leading 15th touchdown of the year for Wilderman. This is Porter, and that is no good. But momentum with the Wildcats. Will they take it into the half? 1:11 until halftime. Mater Dei up 9-0.
Paul's Pharmacy at the corner of Franklin Street and St. Joseph Avenue is a full-service pharmacy. In addition to competitive pricing and personal service, they offer diabetic counseling, a nurse consultant on staff, countywide delivery, a drive-through window, accept most insurance plans, and carry an extensive line of herbal medication. Paul's now offers compounding, the old-fashioned art of preparing medication to meet the needs of individual patients. Paul's also specializes in nursing home service, as Paul is one of 4 geriatric pharmacists in the state. So for all your pharmacy needs, make it to Paul's on Evansville's west side.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Allen Grease Disposal Incorporated, a local company working to serve you. Call us today at 429-1275.
Val gets in over her head on a survival show.
Somebody help me!
Next, VIP.
WB19, always your home for entertainment.
Well, you got by the line of scrimmage as you just saw right at the beginning of the play, and then here's what you talk about finishing a run. He broke a tackle out by the 10, and then he rode the lineman into the end zone.
He took Andrew Burke with him, and that's not easy.
He didn't ride the lineman rode him, and that's a run finished with determination. And that is why Nathan Wilderman is the second leading rusher in town.
Take a ride on the Wilderman. Good for 6. That's been a problem tonight. This is Elkins. Casey to the 33, 1:04 left until halftime.
Well, the Knights still with good field position. The one thing that Coach Leidy will point out is that, Castle typically is just not a big play team. Although we have seen them break runs 60-plus yards. Anytime it can happen, but they really don't have the big play weapon in their pocket, that we've seen yet. But who knows if Roop can get it done in the air.
He does that time. Pass complete to Brandon Hale. Did not work the first time. Close to a first down, a couple of yards short. It'll bring up second down and a deuce. Brandon Hale, also a part-time ball carrier, has 50 yards that way, has his 5th reception of the year as he approaches 100 receiving yards from the arm of Brandon Roop. This is actually second down and 3. Time not on the Knights side, although they have their timeouts as well. 35 seconds to work with.
Elkins is out of the ball game.
Roop looks for a hole, has one, has a first down as he gets close to the 50. And now Castle will use their timeouts accordingly.
Alan Weinsaffel and one of the Wildcats on the hit, and they just hit you hard from top of the roster to bottom, from nose tackle to free safety.
They have so far tonight, actually they have this season, as I told you, they're only giving up about 12 points per week, the Mater Dei defense. Next week, Mater Dei will take on arch rival, West Side rival Wrights. You'll see it next Friday night at 10 o'clock right here. Castle and Memorial. And then the second season begins. The Paoli Rams coming into Wrights Bowl in week 1 of the postseason. And what has to be the game of the week in week 1 of the postseason will be played right here at Castle Stadium. A rematch between Wrights and Castle, 21-7 2 weeks ago in favor of Castle.
Well, I think that the Wrights defense was just called on one or too many times in that ball game, but they played a great ball game against a tough Castle offense.
And this time Wrights is going to have to deal with a healthier Haller, though.
That's true. They, a lot of times, though, that works the other way for you. When you're a defense, you're scouting and you're looking for John Haller, and then they throw Aaron Key at you, a player that you're not very familiar with.
Right.
And they were able to survive that somewhat. But, it was a great night for the Wrights defense on most occasions. But so that second time around could be very different, but that should be a great one. But, you know, we have another half of a great one up here in Paradise tonight.
First and 10 from the 48. Key stat, 22.7 seconds left. This is John Haller. Haller picks up about 8. Second and 2, 17 seconds left, and Castle will use their second timeout here.
Now, I think that John Howler finished that run very well. He was hit back at around the 47-yard line, and he carried that ball on down to the 44. I think the Castle coaches are happy with what they saw in that John Howler carry.
So timeout for the Knights with 17 seconds left. We invite you to join us tomorrow live at 12 noon for WB19's Sports Saturday. Join yours truly along with News First 25's Lance Wilkerson tomorrow at 12 noon. We'll talk about this one. We'll take a look at some of the highlights from this one and take your calls tomorrow at 12 noon. The season premiere of WB19's Sports Saturday. A lot to talk about tomorrow. Playoffs, the Cardinals inching into that NLCS.
Boy, it's so nice now that, you know, the Cardinals baseball fans' season has stretched into October. You know, that's something we haven't been used to in a while, and really off to a good start against Atlanta. But, you know, it could be a tough weekend on the road down there.
Talk about IU's loss tomorrow. It's going to be good. 12 noon. Here's Roop, wants to get out of bounds. Flags on the play. Costly 5 seconds off the clock.
Not sure what that one. Downfield a little bit in the area of maybe a holding, which would work against the Knights, but other things can happen, but typically that's it, and that is the call.
Well, if you're Castle here, you certainly would love to get some points here, but you don't want to cough this up again. And unless Roop really goes long here, which he's been known to do, I don't think you'll see any short pass plays. Then again, with 11.4 seconds left, that would be your game plan anyway. Maybe get it into Marshall's ship range. He has a field goal this year. Should try to get 3 of those back anyway, and I gotta think that that's at least half your game plan here. Let's maybe get 3 back here. You've got another timeout to use if you can get this into field goal range. You'll do it on the ground, and this is a good start. To the 35, quick to call a timeout. Mike Dietz' second carry is his biggest. 5.6 seconds left.
Well, they played off of it that time, and that was a quick hitter to Mike Dietz, and he took it with authority. Ran that ball straight downfield, and well, he ran those 17 yards in about 4 seconds. So that's not too bad when you're a fullback, but watch this quick handoff from Brandon Roop to Mike Dietz. Boom, there it is right there, right past the initial surge of the line. Linebackers really don't have much of a chance to react, and the entire middle of the field is open, and Mike Dietz says, "Thank you very much," as he knocks one of the assistant tacklers out of the way. That was a nice Mike Dietz run.
He's only 5'6", but he goes 185. And so you're not going to kick a 50-yard field goal, so 5.6 seconds left. Castle now out of timeouts. We'll look to the end zone here. And I'm looking for Hunter Buchanan, and another one you might want to go to, tight end Kelly Miller. No, maybe you will go for a long field goal.
52 yards.
Well, Ship's just 1 of 5 with field goals this year, and I've got to venture this is the longest one he's gone for. A 52-yard field goal is not even close. And that's the way this half comes to an end. 9-0 Mater Dei in the battle of the unbeatens. 7-0 Castle, 7-0 Mater Dei. Halftime is next.
Our personal insurance specialists offer you the reliable, dependable services that have built our agency into one of the area's largest. Now that's a reputation. James Will Insurance. It takes special people with special dedication to create the right insurance protection for you and then do it right the first time. James Will Insurance.
Trucks are fast becoming America's most favorite vehicles. Hi, I'm Shane Nance of Nance Motors. And at Nance Motors, we realize the popularity of sport utility vehicles and the new 3- and 4-door trucks. More and more people are looking at trucks as a primary means of transportation. At Nance Motors, we have large and small trucks, 2- and 4-wheel drives, and a big selection of sport utilities. If you're looking for a truck, you had better come to Nance Motors in Seabury.
Welcome back to Castle Stadium in Paradise, Indiana. 9-0 after the first half, Pete.
Well, it's been an interesting first half. Darren Mater Dei doing a lot of damage on the ground and looking to keep Nathan Wildeman under 100 yards as the Castle Knights. He has 70 on the ground through the first half and 1 rushing touchdown. As we take a look at the Castle Knights marching band, you know, they worked very hard up here in Paradise, and they have really put together a fine band.
You talk about tradition. This is one of the best in the state, my friends. And under the direction of Tom Dean, here's the 2000 Castle Marching Knights. Center Grove in Carmel tomorrow. Nothing changes. Still the great look of the Castle Marching Knights. At halftime in Paradise, third quarter, when we come back.
Paul's Pharmacy at the corner of Franklin Street and St. Joseph Avenue is a full-service pharmacy. In addition to competitive pricing and personal service, they offer diabetic counseling, a nurse consultant on staff, countywide delivery, a drive-through window, accept most insurance plans, and carry an extensive line of herbal medication. Paul's now offers compounding, the old-fashioned art of preparing medication to meet the needs of individual patients. Paul's also specializes in nursing home service, as Paul is one of 4 geriatric pharmacists in the state. So for all your pharmacy needs, make it to Paul's on Evansville's west side.
The older I get, the more sensitive I've gotten about what the future holds for Mom and Dad. After all, the years do fly by, and it's not an easy topic to talk about. But you know, once we got started, I now understand. It's about values of my parents, of the community. It's not about corporate philosophies or accounting techniques, but it's understanding what family-owned and family-operated really means. That's why both my parents and I place our trust in Pierre Funeral Home.
Welcome back, Castle Stadium, Paradise, Indiana, 9-0 after 24, Pete.
Well, it's been a busy offensive half for the Mater Dei Wildcats. They got the ball deep into Castle territory on 4 different occasions. 2 times tonight's defense stopped them. And the Mater Dei Cats picked up a field goal to start the scoring, and then off of a fake punt, they took over near midfield and converted that off of a 40-yard Nathan Wildeman draw play. And Castle Knight faithful still cheering on their Knights. The Wildcats will receive it to start the second half. Stat-wise, first for the host Knights, Brandon Roop 1 of 7 in the air, an 8-yard strike to Brandon Hale. John Howler 11 carries for 65 yards. Mike Dietz a couple carries for 19. Brandon Roop has carried himself 3 times for 5 yards. Aaron Key 2 carries, has lost 6. And David Sampson, the punter, faked the punt and has 1 yard rushing. For the Mater Dei Wildcats, Jake Schiff is 6 of 13 for 92 yards. Patrick Mallory has 37 receiving yards. Dan Alcorn 31 yards. Albert Schmidt 8 yards in the air, and Nathan Wildeman a 16-yard catch. And on the ground for Mater Dei, Nathan Wildeman doing the majority of the damage, 12 carries for 70 yards, 1 20-yard touchdown run. Jake Schiff a couple for a loss of 9, and Patrick Mallory a 5-yard end-around gain.
Marshall Schiff to unload. Mallory take it from the goal line and brings it out to around the 23. Tough to take down. Penalty marker down.
Boy, Mallory really can take a beating, and I would anticipate that to be a face mask. It was thrown into the pile where the tackle was, so I wouldn't expect a blocking penalty.
Illegal use of the hands.
So I guess possibly in that scramble or in that huddle, one of the Wildcats maybe as when that happened, but the flag definitely thrown into that pile, and the illegal use of the hands is the call, and they'll bring it back 10 rather, and down inside the 15. They'll start out at about the 13. A couple of penalties on both teams. Mater Dei's penalties went for 10 yards. The Knights a couple for 25. Just 4 first downs for Castle, 9 for Mater Dei. Stat that I would expect to even up a little bit more here in the second half.
Gets that penalty right back. Wilderman across the 30. And as the first half progressed, so did Wilderman, Pete.
18 on the ground for Nathan Wilderman, and he did get stronger as the first half went on. So now he's at 88 yards on the ground, Darren, and the magic number that Coach Leidy says they need to hold him under is 100, and he is very, very near that, and the Wildcats with that 10-point or 9-point lead.
The entire second half here in front of us. This is 1st and 10 now from the 31. Ground game has been working. Wilderman that time, not as much. Taken down by Zach Lair. A great tight end, but a great defensive player as well. 6'5", 280 for the Knights. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Wildcats.
Well, Zach really doing a good job as he just kind of follows this one. And Wilderman sees him and really has nowhere to go. Looking to make something out of it, but Zach is right there to wrap him up.
Connects with Mallory. Not enough for the first down, but out just inside the 40.
He's right at the end of the chain. I think he did get out of bounds a little bit short. But that one goes for about a 9-yard gain.
Mallory again, your second leading receiver behind Jared Schiff this season. Both Schiff and Mallory combined for over 1,300 receiving yards. This is 3rd and 1 for Mater Dei. Momentum with the Wildcats right now. They're on the road. Castle, one of the toughest places to play in the SIAC, and they're up 9-0. For the first down, Wilderman, and he gets there.
Boy, Nathan Wilderman really having a nice evening. Mater Dei with more size than they're used to this year, but still giving up some 30 pounds per man. When Mater Dei's on offense, they give up about 25 pounds per man up front. And still a big line for the Wildcats.
Running room for Mallory. He's run some big ones so far this season. He's out around the 50, so a big gain of 7, and 2nd and 3 coming up. Second time he's used Mallory here. You've only used him 4 times in that situation in the prior 7 weeks.
Just not able to spring that play for the big one that it's supposed to be. 5 on the last carry like that, and 7 this time for Patrick. But you know, when he takes the handoff and swings around that left side, he's running a long way, looking way downfield to try to find those downfield holes. You can see some pretty good blocks being held by the Mater Dei Wildcats, but nobody got out there and got a hand on Hunter Buchanan, and he made the stop, a 7-yard gainer.
Nathan Wilderman picks up the first down to the 45. Here, one stat Mater Dei seems to be consistent with week after week, is averaging around 15 or 16 first downs a game. They're approaching that here in the 3rd quarter. And they're doing it on the ground, Pete.
And 97 yards on the ground from Nate Wilderman that time. So he'll go over 100 yards early in the 3rd quarter.
1st and 10 from the 45. Schiff looking to go to the air for the first time here in the second half. Underthrows that time. No one really there, and I'll credit, Castle's defense again. There's not been a lot of time to work with when he's going to the passing game, and the receivers are very well covered.
Well, we mentioned earlier how much he has learned in this evening with the experience he already has. You saw early in the game, deep in Castle territory, he threw the interception. A little later on in the game, he got out of the pocket. He had nowhere to go. Tried to run the ball. A good decision. He was dropped for a loss, so they just had coverage there. Here now, chased out of the pocket. He throws it away. So great progression in the ball game by Jake Schiff.
2nd down and 10. Fake the handoff and then underthrew, which was going to Wilderman. So you can't use Dom Ferrone as a receiver.
Boy, and Schiff really took a shot by Brad Hutchison, I believe, was in there. The senior nose tackle got in and got after Jake.
3rd down and 10. 9:14 here left in the 3rd. If you're just joining us here on a Friday late night, Mater Dei leading Castle in the battle of the undefeateds 9-0. Here's a big 3rd and 10 on either side. And Schiff with time. Goes long, looks for Albert Schmidt around the 20.
25-yard pass completion to Albert Schmidt. His 3rd reception of the night. And Schiff just guides those in. And his receivers have the ability to go get that. We saw the acrobatic catch by Alcorn early in the game. Went right into the numbers of Patrick Mallory through the seam of the defense. Now this one down the sidelines to Albert Schmidt. He just runs right under it. What a great over-the-shoulder catch. And then he was knocked out of bounds by Casey Elkins.
Wilderman gets inside the 15, so another gain of 5 and 2nd and 5, and here comes Mater Dei again.
And Wilderman goes over 100 yards with that one. We have him at 103, and he says, look out, Dorenzo Bushrod. He wants a piece of the pie.
Mater Dei looking to go up big with 8:40 in the 3rd. On their first possession, it's been all Wildcats so far. Actually a gain of 6 for Wilderman, so it's 2nd down and 4. Schiff runs out of time, hit hard. Lucky to hold on to the football that time. Brad Hutchinson, there's that 5'9" nose tackle, Pete, again.
Boy, a couple of people are in there on Schiff that time. The Knights doing what they can to get at Jake Schiff. And Schiff just didn't have as much of the pocket as he thought that time. Great pressure, and they just sealed it on him.
3rd down and 10. The 5 you had, you lose. 3rd and 10 from the 20. High snap for Schiff. Schiff again will run out of time. Unload, incomplete. The the ball basically ended up the same place anyway because Wilderman was well covered. It is 4th and 10. And a decision. We've seen an attempted 52-yard field goal tonight. That, of course, was on the other side. Does B.J. Porter have it in him to put maybe 3 more up there?
Well, I believe up 9, this will be a situation where if you kick this field goal and make it, you're still you don't have a 2-touchdearly lead.
Well, I don't think even if they score a touchdown, there's no comfortable lead, I don't think, at this point in the game.
Well, I mean, you definitely are going for this.
And a roughing the passer call really changes all that.
Boy, that is a huge penalty, and I really don't know where that one came from. That's a big one.
Well, I think the crowd was booing because it was made late, and you saw the look there on John Leidy's face.
Well, they had a pretty clean shot at Schiff that time.
Instead of 4th and 10, it's 1st and 10. So from the 10-yard line, 1st and goal. Yeah, I'm with you, Pete. I missed that as well. And the only thing I'm thinking is the roughing the passer came certainly out of play, out of our view.
Well, he was on the run and had Wilderman as his outlet, and he got the little dump pass over, and I followed the ball, so must have taken a pretty good shot. That's a big penalty.
Picked up 2. This is 2nd and goal from the 8. Could turn out to be the biggest penalty so far. Longer count by Schiff. And the whistles blow this one dead. Offside here on the Wildcats will back them up 5. 2nd and 13 coming up for Mater Dei. This can open up some more options for your quarterback, but protecting the quarterback at times tonight has been a problem.
Just 3 penalties on both teams. 40 yards, however, against the Knights to 15 against Mater Dei.
2nd and 13 again, unloading, and that time finding Wilderman. Those were not working earlier. They rushed the passer. He threw it on out there. That time he hit Wilderman for a gain.
There was just a lot going on that play. They fake an inside handoff, look to go around to the outside, and
Castle
then
gets
bring
on
it
you
back to the middle for Wilderman.
Castle gets on you so quick, you don't actually have time to fake a handoff. You got to get right to business.
There's just a lot happening out there on that play.
This is 3rd and 9. This is B.J. Porter field goal range. 3rd and 9. 3rd and goal from the 9. And Mater Dei has held possession the first 6 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Looking towards the end zone. Incomplete around the 1. Looking for Dan Alcorn, who still would have been about a yard short anyway. And now decision time for Mike Gable.
That's a tough break there for Mater Dei. That's a touchdown situation, and Alcorn usually holds on to those. It looks like they're going to go ahead and put some points on the board and put it out of reach of a touchdown and a field goal.
But not out of reach entirely.
Knowing that Marshall Schiff has a very capable leg, I'm going to go ahead and get what they can on the board.
B.J. Porter already has one of these tonight. Has 2 coming into the game. That is up, and that is good. So Mater Dei and a long possession, 6 minutes, 6 seconds in the 3rd, end up with 3 and open it up 12-0 on the Castle Knights.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Piranha Mobile Shredding and Recycling, serving all of your paper destruction and paper recycling needs. Call Piranha Mobile Shredding and Recycling today at 424-5566. ERA First Advantage, with locations in Evansville and Newburgh. ERA is there for you. You can also find us on the web at firstadvantage.com. ERA, always first in service. And Buckelman's, featuring family-style dining and now catering for up to 200 people at our facility, or for unlimited guests at your facility.
Insurance. It's one part of financial planning. To help accomplish your financial objectives, why not call us now? James Will Insurance. The right combination of protection, value, response, and service. That's our philosophy, and it has been since 1962. James Will Insurance.
Undefeated Mater Dei, undefeated Castle. 5:54 here left in the third. 12-0 Wildcats.
Boy, what a ball game it's been. Turnovers, one of the things that everybody is keeping their eye on tonight. The Mater Dei has thrown one interception early in the ball game and survived it. And Castle fumbled early and gave it away. So one turnover apiece. So really, dead even with that. So no advantage off of turnovers, and Castle really looking to make those happen.
Holding on. This is Brandon Hale with a nice return. Out to the 45, approaching midfield. Best return we've seen so far tonight, and quite frankly, right now, Castle needs that. They need some momentum.
Boy, that was a big momentum play. Brandon Hale went right down, got to that outside, and the Mater Dei has a very good kickoff returning team. And Brandon Hale says, take that, and he gives the Knights the football just short of midfield at their own 46.
5:45 in the third, the longest drive so far tonight. We've seen so many quick drives. We saw 6:06 run off the clock and end up in 3 for the Wildcats. This is Haller trying to pick up where he left off last half, and actually it's the first carry for Mike Dietz here in the second half. 4 carries for Dietz back in the first half, has 6, second and 4 coming up for Castle.
Got 25 yards on the ground for Mike Dietz. Had a big first half quick hit gainer. Went forward for 17.
Faked one handoff, went to Haller, maybe a yard. Third and around 4 coming up for Castle. We've been talking about the Castle defense, as well you should, a team that only gives up 6 points a week. Mater Dei has kept Castle off the board now through 2.5 quarters, Pete.
I really don't expect that to keep up. Although, when you look at the way the game's gone, it's going to be a tough defense to score against tonight. But Castle, not a team that gets shut out.
Brandon Roop taken down. Nice job by one of the top defensive players in the SIAC this year. Alan Weinzappel, 64 tackles, 40 solo, and 6 QB sacks. Very impressive 6'2" senior.
Boy, and Allen says Castle looking like a team that can get shut out to me, and that was a great stop of Brandon Root.
Play it down, and
Weinzappel that time.
Can't get a number.
But really just a fired up defense right now that is not allowing any breaks for the Castle offense. And Castle is an opportunistic type of a ball club. They will keep grinding the ball out. They will keep running it at you, start to wear you out, and then take advantage of your mistakes. Well, I think that they've run into a team that is in as good a shape as they're in, and has the stamina to play through the fourth quarter, and that's what makes this such a great matchup.
One you don't want to lose for any length of time, that is Mike Dietz. A little shooken up. Come off on his own power, and here's 4th and 4 now coming up for the Knights.
Well, his right wrist is what's giving him his problems, and already some swelling around that right wrist.
He's been your second leading rusher behind Haller this year.
Well, he's been providing some big blocks and some pretty nice yards to go with that Castle offense. Mike Dietz is one they'd like to see in there at fullback.
Albert Schmidt, Patrick Mallory, tucked inside the 10. Sampson covered at the 12. So Mater Dei with a lengthy drive It ended up in 3. We'll try to eat some more clock and put some more points on the board when we come back. 4:18 left in the third. High school football's game of the week.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Allen Grease Disposal Incorporated, a local company working to serve you. Call us today at 429-1275.
Paul's Pharmacy at the corner of Franklin Street and St. Joseph Avenue is a full-service pharmacy. In addition to competitive pricing and personal service, they offer diabetic counseling, a nurse consultant on staff, countywide delivery, a drive-through window, accept most insurance plans, and carry an extensive line of herbal medication. Paul's now offers compounding, the old-fashioned art of preparing medication to meet the needs of individual patients. Paul's also specializes in nursing home service, as Paul is one of 4 geriatric pharmacists in the state. So for all your pharmacy needs, make it to Paul's on Evansville's west side.
For Nikki, being married to a wrestler can be dangerous.
If I don't answer, that means that Dwight fell asleep on top of me and I'm trapped.
Young love Vegas style.
When you get home, you're gonna get pinned again. Stay oiled.
Nikki Cox is Nikki.
Sweet. Sunday at 9:30 on WB19.
I'm Darren Smith with Pete Hillenbrand back out at Castle Stadium. Friday night high school football. Undefeated Castle, undefeated Mater Dei, 12-0 Wildcats. Begins here actually on the 13.
Well, and Mater Dei's offense is clicking. And, they're able to run the football and able to throw the football. Percentage-wise, not having a typical shift night, but really balancing it out. We had 92 yards in the air in the first half to 66 on the ground. Well, now as we move into the third quarter, towards the end of it, he's up around 120, 130 in the air, and on the ground about 110, 115. So just an amazing amount of balance tonight against a very tough Castle defense.
Second down and 10. Shift right back to the air. Mallory.
That pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Good concentration by Mallory.
The 16, a gain of 3. Here's third down and 7 for Mater Dei. 260 yards. That's an average per game through 7 games. Need 7 here to keep this one going. Third and long for the Wildcats. Triplets here will be near side. And Schiff looks there. Company there. And looking for Mallory. Double coverage on Mallory, and Mater Dei will get rid of it. Quite frankly, for the Castle defense, one they had to stop and stop quickly.
Tim Felton was back. I think that Felton had the one-on-one assignment that time, and Hunter Buchanan was the defender that came on in support, and that's pretty dangerous. You got one guy can keep his eye on the receiver, the other guy can go for the football, and little defensive coaching going on the sideline. And now Castle ready to get the football back, and they'll expect to have nice field position, some of the best they've had this evening.
And it rolls out around the 40. And with it getting late in Paradise, Castle needs something here.
While we were busy talking about the Mater Dei offense, the Castle defense was just getting busy, and they held the Wildcats, stopped them back deep in their own territory, and as a result, they start at the 40. And just a couple of touchdowns down, good field position, and John Leidy on the sidelines. The Knights are never out of a ball game.
On their own 39 to begin this drive. Here is Brandon Roop with some time. Going big again, incomplete. Pass intended for Brandon Hale.
Good coverage by Albert Schmidt that time. Albert got downfield beyond Hale, out in front of him.
A lot of speed with Schmidt.
And the ball was thrown over, leading Hale. So Schmidt is in control at that point, and he just slows it down, coming back from the ball, and breaks that up with good coverage. And a coverage like we have seen the Knights throw early in the ball game. Schmidt provided that time.
Second down and 10. Roop returns to the ground. John Haller spins his way for 6. Here comes 3rd and 4.
Boy, and that's a literal call, Darren. He broke one tackle with that spin move at the line of scrimmage, spun again. But the secondary stopped him, but not before he's 5 yards downfield.
Halfway there. Third about 5, 2:45 left in the third, 12-0 Mater Dei.
There's
Healthier Dietz.
Good to see him back in the lineup.
That's a big first down.
He ran with no pain that time. Picks up about 6. I think they're going to measure it, but the ball, well, no, there's the signal. The ball was up at the 29-yard line and the stick a little bit behind that, so they didn't bring it out.
Down to the 29. And the deepest the Castle Knights have been so far tonight. Elkins and Buchanan towards the outside, capable receivers.
It's Castle's first down of the second half.
To the air, just underthrows around the 20. Again, looking for Casey Elkins. 2nd and 10, 2:07 in the third.
Boy, and Schmidt busy back there, just about ducked underneath that one for the interception.
He's doing busier defensively than offensively. He's had to cover quite a bit.
Castle can pass. It's not a last resort. It doesn't present a panic situation if they get to the point where they need to throw most of the time. They're very capable of doing that.
2nd and 10 again from their 29. Haller breaks the 25. Still about 3 yards short of a first down in 4-down territory.
John Haller's 79th yard. Surprised we haven't seen Aaron Keys get the touches tonight that perhaps Coach Leidy would have liked, but this could be why. Look at John Haller follow Mike Dietz right into the hole, and he's into the secondary before he gets hit. He's still not done. That is what they talk about in finishing the run, and he makes it a 3rd and short situation.
And he comes up a bit short. Nice grab that time by Aaron Knight.
That's a first down saving tackle right there because Haller had a lot of daylight and Knight stopped him for just no gain. Maybe a loss of a little bit.
That's 4th and 4 coming up. And Leidy not even thinking about it. Going for it. No. Thought at least 3. He'd like at least 6 right here. This is 4th and 4 on the 23. And Roop is back to pass. Roop looking for a big one. Touchdown! If first you don't succeed, 3rd time a charm, Brandon Hale has Castle on the board.
Boy, and that was into Albert Schmidt's area, and Albert has been providing great coverage, and that time Hale just got a little bit behind him, and Roop was able to get out there and see him, and you could see it coming. And, he's right on track with 1/3 of his completions going for touchdowns. That's his 2nd completion of the night.
Marshall's ship is 27 of 32. Extra points. This is big for a couple of reasons. It's up, it's good, it's 12-7. 41 seconds left in the third. High school football's game of the week.
The older I get, the more sensitive I've gotten about what the future holds for Mom and Dad. After all, the years do fly by, and it's not an easy topic to talk about. But once we got started, I now understand. It's about values of my parents, of the community. It's not about corporate philosophies or accounting techniques, but it's understanding what family-owned and family-operated really means. That's why both my parents and I place our trust in Pierre Funeral Home.
Trucks are fast becoming America's most favorite vehicles. Hi, I'm Shane Nance of Nance Motors. And at Nance Motors, we realize the popularity of sport utility vehicles and the new 3- and 4-door trucks. More and more people are looking at trucks as a primary means of transportation. At Nance Motors, we have large and small trucks, 2- and 4-wheel drives, and a big selection of sport utilities. If you're looking for a truck, You had better come to Nance Motors in Seabury.
Brandon Hale on the receiving end, Castle on the scoreboard. 5 points separating in the battle of the undefeateds. Darren Smith with Pete Hillenbrand. 41 seconds left in the third. 12-7 Mater Dei.
Boy, you know, they say it's not the quantity but the quality, and that is a prime example right there. It's been a tough passing night for Brandon Roop, but that time he found Brandon Hale behind the defense and all alone, and he connected.
It took nearly 36 minutes for Castle to get on the scoreboard. Wilderman brings you out to the 25 and 35 seconds to work with in the third. Are you ready for quite a fourth quarter on this Friday night?
It's going to be a dandy. And Mater Dei with the football, and now it's all about ball control. And they will want to eat as much clock as they can and move the ball down and put them beyond a touchdown's reach.
Drive will begin actually on the 24 for Jake Schiff. Came into the game with nearly 1,800 passing yards. Ground movement will give you about 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Well, you know, the coverage that Schmidt's been giving defensively has been so good. I'm surprised that that's where the pass ended up going. I think they just got in a situation where Brandon Hale thought that he could get behind him, and somehow he managed to.
2nd and 8 if they even attempt to get this off, and they will not. So we will head to the fourth quarter with the issue still in doubt. 12-7 Mater Dei. Someone is going to 8-0. We find out as we head to the fourth quarter. We go there next on WB 19.
The older I get, the more sensitive I've gotten about what the future holds for Mom and Dad. After all, the years do fly by, and it's not an easy topic to talk about. But you know, once we got started, I now understand. It's about values of my parents, of the community. It's not about corporate philosophies or accounting techniques, but it's understanding what family-owned and family-operated really means. That's why both my parents and I place our trust in Pierre Funeral Home.
Paul's Pharmacy at the corner of Franklin Street and St. Joseph Avenue is a full-service pharmacy. In addition to competitive pricing and personal service, they offer diabetic counseling, a nurse consultant on staff, countywide delivery, a drive-through window, accept most insurance plans, and carry an extensive line of herbal medication. Paul's now offers compounding, the old-fashioned art of preparing medication to meet the needs of individual patients. Paul's also specializes in nursing home service, as Paul is one of 4 geriatric pharmacists in the state. So for all your pharmacy needs, make it to Paul's on Evansville's west side.
At least 12 minutes to come here in the fourth quarter. Welcome back to WB19's high school football game of the week. You build the game. There's a lot of hype. Sometimes it doesn't deliver. This one, I believe, will. It's 12-7 with at least 12 to come here, Pete. Mater Dei by 5.
Boy, and numbers-wise, 79 on the ground for Howler. You know, still just a little over 100 yards total offense for the Castle Knights, where Mater Dei now well over 200 yards in offense.
On 2nd and 8, Albert Schmidt hit hard out of play. Picks up another Mater Dei first down.
They get that one out to Albert. So, you know, Mater Dei is holding on to the football, but Castle really came through with that big strike to Hale.
We invite you to join us tomorrow at 12 noon for WB19's season premiere of Sports Saturday. We'll be live taking your calls and, believe you me, talking about this one. We'll talk to the winners also tomorrow at 12 noon. Sports Saturday live. This is 1st and 10 from the 37. Relying more on a ground game, although we've seen a pretty good air attack, as you usually will, from Schiff. Across the 40 that time, so a pickup of about 4.
20 carries for 110 yards through 3 quarters for Nathan Wilderman. Schiff in the air, Darren, 126 yards through 3.
Nathan Wilderman coming into this week, averaging about 8.5 yards a carry. This is 2nd down, 6 on the 41.
Castle showing a big blitz, and they come with it.
Quick release, though, and Schiff's been used to getting those off in a hurry. Close to the first down as they complete the pass to, again, Albert Schmidt. That'll be a couple of yards short, maybe a yard and a half. Third down.
Nice stop by Hunter Buchanan with the blitz. That solo tackle becomes so critical because you don't have a bunch of help back there if you let him get away. A nice stop by Hunter Buchanan. One of the keys that Leidy pointed out is his defense will have to make that initial stop. They did at that time.
This is third and a long one. And the flat pass goes to Mallory. Trying to get the first down. That's going to be close, but I don't think he got there.
Well, I think they'll spot it a little bit short of the 47. And that pin, the stick, is just a little bit short of the 47. They spot it well short and really just across the 46. So it's going to be 4th and short. They're going to call timeout and measure it, but I think he's going to be a couple of feet short of that one.
Decisions for Mike Gable. You're up 12-7, but he can do the math. 10:06 left. See how close this actually is.
You've got about a foot, so that's pretty close. And this is a big decision. If you go for it, you have to make it.
I know they've done very well tonight. I mean, they've got 12 points on the road. Again, I'll bring up against one of the toughest defenses in the state of Indiana.
Todd Evers checks in at 285. Looks like the Cats are no hesitation going to go for it.
Well, you win big games with big plays. You are looking at 4th down and about a foot.
Kelly Miller yells across the defensive line of scrimmage, says nobody jumps. It's a big one right here.
4th and a foot. Long count by Schiff.
Still 5 seconds on the play clock.
Never snapped the ball. You'd figure with maybe some noise, and you know what they were thinking, but it didn't work, and they'll kick it away. I think you at least got to try that.
It's worth a shot. I mean, 5 yards on that punt really doesn't make a lot of difference.
It worked against them earlier.
Yes, it did. A little creative work when it worked against him.
Corey Morris is backed up inside the 30, awaiting the Jake Schiff punt. Again, averaging 35 yards per punt in the first 7 weeks. Gets off a good one. Corey Morris finds some holes. Taken down finally at the 40. Great job by Eric Daywig. You shouldn't be surprised.
Well, he's a tough one out there. That was a nice return by Corey Morris. He had to get out of some traffic back there deep in his own territory, and he did just that and gave Castle not only breathing room, but excellent field position, and they're a hot team right now. They have momentum, they have the ball, and they have decent field position to work with.
On the 40, the number 3 ranked team in Class 5A taking on the 2nd ranked team in Class 2A. It's 1st and 10 from the 40. Roop begins this drive, handing off to Haller. Old Reliable gets you 4. Here comes 2nd down and 6.
Well, this should be an interesting drive because now we're at the point of the ball game where Castle is used to having the defense exhausted. I really believe that Mater Dei is a team that has similar physical conditioning to the Castle Knights. I think they're about as strong and have tremendous endurance. So it'll be a test of wills.
Here comes Castle. Roop, quick to release. Hunter Buchanan. Hit quickly at the 50 again by Eric Daywig.
Well, I think Hunter's going to get a bad spot right here. And you can hear the reaction from the Castle fans. He really had the ball beyond the 50 and was hit and had the forward progress and enough for the first down. I think they'll measure it and find that they have it it set up about a yard short, and that's where they're going to leave it. But it even still looks like he has enough for the first down.
This is big, 3rd and 1. To lean forward to pick up a first down. 126 first downs through the first 7 games is about 18 a week. That's a big one in week number 8.
Well, that and they move the ball into Wildcat territory, and you know it's patented Castle football with 8 minutes to play. I think that Coach Leidy would like to punch this one across the end zone with the clock inside a minute or less, and he's shown that he has the ability to do that in the past.
Other than one drives have not been long on either side. A 6-minute drive by the Wildcats to begin the second half. There's Haller picking up close to 5.
That was Dietz once again. They got it to the first guy through, and Mike has really ground out some tough yardage, and now
lately too.
And the Wildcats missing some tackles right at the line of scrimmage and going to the linebackers to make the stops.
Second down for the Knights. Roop, we've not seen him scramble tonight. Just no one open downfield, and he's been getting those his way for the most part. Initial hit belongs to Aaron Knight, and the finishing tackle by Alan Weinzappel for Mater Dei. And so again, a 3rd and longer situation. This is 3rd and about 8.
Well, Roop really did a good job holding on to that football. He was running with it out in one hand and kind of got dropped a little sooner than he expected and didn't tuck that ball in. He did a good job of keeping a grip on it. Now here's the 3rd and long situation that the Knights like to avoid. We have some equipment problems out there.
Brandon Roop has run the ball 60 times coming into the game for close to 200 yards. Like I said at the top of the telecast tonight, he's one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the SIAC this season. Doesn't throw it, certainly not as much as a Schiff. He's thrown it 50 times coming in, but completes 27 of those. As we told you earlier, a 3rd of those have been for TDs. 3rd and long. And by the way, he's not thrown an interception yet this year. In a little bit of trouble. Broke through a couple. And gets out of bounds around the 39, which is going to be short by about 2 yards.
Boy, Brandon really caught a couple of breaks that time. A couple Wildcat defenders ran into each other and really cleared the way for Brandon that time. And he scrambled for a good 5 yards, but still a long 2 short of the first down. No doubt the Knights trailing, I believe, will go for it.
Yeah, I think you do. I mean, you've seen both teams with good field position tonight. There's not a lot of points on the board. This 4th quarter's been stacked with big plays like this. You're looking at 4th and 2. A long 2 for the Knights. Need to break the 40. This is Haller. He's close to a first down, and Mater Dei thinks they held him.
He's across the 40, but I believe he's short of the 39. He needs to hit that 39. And he's not going to do that. That's the second time the Cats have held him on 4th down conversions.
And it's not only tough against, and there's the Mater Dei faithful, it's not only tough to do it against these Knights, it's very tough here. Where Castle Stadium has certainly played its role in home field advantage, where the Castle Knights are awful tough to beat. Now 6:12 left here in the 4th. Mater Dei holding on with a 5-point lead. And with the football back.
I tell you what, Nathan Wildeman ran that into the heart of a defense that wants to win this football game, and they stopped him at the line of scrimmage. We talked just a minute ago how this becomes a battle of wills now. In your typical football game, Castle makes that 4th down conversion, goes on to score and win. They really are up against a team that is in as good a shape as they are. And we're turning to all heart here before long on both sides of this football. And this is what high school sports is all about.
2nd down and 10, 5:35 left here in the 4th. Schiff with time to pass. Finds his man, Albert Schmidt, for a first down to the 47.
That was a good job of running after the catch by Albert. You just want to go ahead and make the turn and make sure that you pick up that first down. You know, they'll set the chains and start the clock up again. And Mater Dei wants to keep the clock running. They hope to stick it in the end zone one more time, but hold the ball, keep the clock running is the strategy at this point for both sides.
1st and 10 now from the 47. Schiff getting more time, finds a receiver up the middle in Alcorn. Alcorn for the first down, got about 5 more yards to the 25, out of play.
He goes about 20 and a first down, and Alcorn broke probably 3 tackles after that reception. That was a nice piece of running after the reception as well. With 9 first downs here in the second half, matches their first half total. And Mater Dei has really racked up the offensive numbers, but Castle has not allowed them to put the ball in the end zone as much.
Up the middle. Pass interference on Hunter Buchanan on Patrick Mallory.
That's a tough one to take out there in that area. You've been giving good coverage all night, and you're on your man. Your feet get tangled up, but I think they'll take that one. You know, I mean, that could have been devastating had that gone for a completion. Not, you know, that wasn't inadvertent, but could have saved the touchdown.
So 1st and 10 from about the 12 for the Wildcats. And keep in mind, while this is all going on, the clock continues to dwindle. 4:55 left in the 4th. And Mater Dei holding on to a 12-7 lead.
Well, and a team now that can use anything that they have, because their running game is working, their passing game is working.
Looking towards the end zone. Touchdown! How big is that?
That's Jared Schiff in the end zone to go back in there and get into some of that action. 13-yard touchdown reception, and in such a pass-crazy offense, only the first passing touchdown of the night. Nathan Wilderman ran one in, and now Jared Schiff hauled one in the end zone, and to stick that with a B.J. Porter field goal, and his extra point to make it 19.
With 4:50 now to work with for the Castle Knights. The extra point is up, and that is good. It's getting late. Mater Dei extends the lead 19-7. 4:50 left to play here in the 4th.
Here's something we think is worth thinking about. Insurance. It's like your job. You've got to have it. James Will Insurance. To many business people, risk management is a mysterious concept. To us, it's another way to make your business insurance dollars work harder. James Will Insurance.
Today's high school football game between Mater Dei and Castle is brought to you in part by Allen Grease Disposal Incorporated, a local company working to serve you. Call us today at 429-1275.
Val gets in over her head on a survival show.
Somebody help me!
Next, VIP.
WB19, always your home for entertainment.
4:50 left in the 4th, 19-7. Mater Dei trying to go to 8-0 and win the SIAC. 6-0 would do that, no matter what happens next week. Over at Wrightsboro, they'll at least grab themselves a share.
Well, it's a time when sports fans around the state of Indiana have to sit back and realize this is one real deal here in the red and gold tonight. You know, Castle, number 4 in 5A, and a very legitimate number 4 in 5A. These guys will go deep in the playoffs, and Mater Dei with a comfortable lead now at this point in their house.
Boy, that's adrenaline. And there again is Eric Daywig. Where are you, Fort Wayne Lures? That is the number 1 ranked team in the state of Indiana in Class 2A. As I told you earlier, Mater Dei in this week at number 2. Right now is beating the 3rd-ranked team in Class 5A, Castle Knights.
Well, and you know, I think the biggest part of it is they took the momentum back, and that is something that is nearly impossible to do to these Castle Knights. You know, they stopped them on downs, took the ball over, punched it in the end zone, and now stopped them on downs again, got the ball back, and then Mater Dei held them on 4th and short. And you know, they are doing nearly the impossible because of how tough this Castle football team is.
Had a big TD grab earlier, Brandon Hale, a bit short that time. 4:36 here left in the 4th.
But you do have to be careful because Castle, although they don't have big touchdown plays by design, they are very capable of breaking off a big run. Now, Mater Dei's defensive secondary has some speed, but Castle is very capable of scoring quickly. You just don't see it happen that often. They're trademarked long clock-eating drives, but I think 98 seconds in the year in semi-state. I mean, you know, they can put some points on the board quick. And here goes Haller with a nice little run.
And that's a good start. Close to a first down, John Haller with the carry. Another typical night at the office for John.
Nearly 100 yards now, 97 yards rushing.
And a penalty against the Wildcats.
That is not what you want to do.
Flag came in the back.
Well, you just handed the Knights 15 additional yards off of a personal foul.
And Gable can't believe it.
That's just a no-no. And the Castle team, now that puts the ball out near midfield. They're on 42. And just about 4.5 minutes to play.
Some expensive penalties tonight. Now to the 41. 4.5 can be an eternity. No lead safe. 19-7 Mater Dei. Here's Brandon Roop. And Roop throws it away. His first interception of the season at a key time in week number 8.
I think that one might have just stuck to his hands a little bit. His deep man was Hunter Buchanan, and I believe that was Hale down underneath. But Buchanan appeared to be the more open of the two. And that ball just appeared to stick to Brandon Roop's hands. And, you know, that's a surprise. Mater Dei with 11 turnovers coming in, that's not a lot of turnovers for a team that throws the ball. You know, 8 of those were interceptions. Castle with just 4. Mater Dei right now leading the turnover of the 2-1, 2 takeaways to the Knights 1.
Markers down quickly on this one. Well, this one dead. Mater Dei taking over here on the 46 with 4:38 left and up 19-7. Procedure call against the Wildcats will back them up 5 and 1st and 15 here coming up for Mater Dei.
One thing the Knights have here is the mic'd officials. You can hear the officiating crew over the PA system, and the referee is Kevin Smith. Rex Haney is your umpire. Dan Shields is the linesman. Brett Williamson, the line judge. And the back judge is Jim Newland.
1st and 15 here from Mater Dei. Going to try to work some clock as well. This will do it. Wilderman, some of that penalty back. Castle with all their timeouts left, but they're down by 2 scores.
Well, a couple of the keys, you know,